What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful.com here for the post-SmackDown review. It is December 27th. We are here to talk WWE Smackdown and a lot more. As mentioned, Sean Ross Sapp here with Mr. Warren Hayes. You all saw him cover the show last week. He is on our Wednesday Night War show, but also he has a channel over at youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes, getting closer to a milestone. So I want you guys to do me a personal favor. Head over, subscribe to Mr. Warren Hayes' YouTube account. Warren, we're getting you closer there, my friend.
Yeah, last time I checked, I was at 870 subscribers, trying to get to 1K before the end of the year. I honestly didn't think I'd get this close at this stage of the game. So thank you, everyone who's subscribed. And if you haven't already, yeah, that'd be neat.
Do it, guys. He's got a lot of good stuff over there. It's worth the subscription. And you know what? If you hate this guy, if you hate him, just subscribe anyway, because it's a minor inconvenience at most.
Do you know of anyone who hates me, Sean?
I don't, but I'm saying hypothetically, if they did hate you.
Okay, I see what you mean. I just got scared.
Also, I'm running a contest right now. It's on my Twitter account where you can win a free code to watch Wrestle Kingdom 14, which you ain't going to be able to watch it on Access TV. So you might as well enter this, and you get an extra entry if you subscribe to Warren's channel. So while you're here watching this, go ahead and leave a thumbs up. But we've got plenty to talk about. This show brought to you by Fightful Select, but I will bring you a little bit more information on that later. It is the December 27th episode of SmackDown Live. I went to a SmackDown house show last night, Warren, in Cincinnati. I was shocked that they did a December 26th show here. Usually it's either just MSG or it's Chicago or Detroit. I was happy. I've always wanted to go to a December 26th MSG show. Haven't got to do that yet. Turns out I probably should have done that last night. But still some fun stuff. I got to hang out with some good friends there. Big E did not put his nuts on my shoulder as he has once threatened to do. All in all,
tremendous disappointment there. I saw your post too. They even do the red lights for the Fiend at the live events too.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. I guess last night I got to see the end of an era. It was the last time I guess they were using the recycle Titantron for Daniel Bryan. He now has the Yes Titantron, but. We have SmackDown to talk about.
Yeah.
Elias comes out, and last night, this We Need Elias song just did not work. And tonight, it also did not work, Warren. Isn't it amazing that when they try to make him a babyface, they make him so ridiculously unlikable. But when he's a heel, he's so funny and borderline charming that you want to cheer the guy. But when they think they're doing what they should be doing to make you cheer him, you're just like, man, this guy's annoying and he's a bit of a dick.
I don't know why they're trying this again. I really don't. And he has a very, very dry type of humor that works very well in his heel persona. That's the main thing, is whenever he does insult the city or make fun of the other wrestlers, he always does it in very wry fashion that works really well. And there's always something very satisfying in the way he reacts when he gets interrupted or when things don't go his way. I don't know if it's because they have music deals lined up for him and they want to make him a babyface to make sure that people will buy the albums. But man, when he was white knighting Dana Brooke a couple of weeks ago, that wasn't doing it for me, and it's still not doing it for me. Elias out of a kimono, man, out of a silk kimono, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
He sings about the 2019 regrets, and he targets Lana, Lashley, Bayley, Shane McMahon, and then runs down the show. This ain't it. This is not it. Also, not it was the scheduled match. It didn't happen, at least right out of the gate. Daniel Bryan comes to the ring. King Corbin comes out and talks trash to Bryan. I see you making a little bit of a face here. You have some thoughts, I see. Go ahead.
Okay. As anyone who listens to the show or my own stuff over on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes knows, when you start a wrestling show with an opening segment, with a promo, you always start with one strike. In my case, it's like, okay, make this interesting, make something happen here. So
unless
tonight,
you're the Fightful YouTube account, then you start with 3 strikes, you get kicked off the goddamn platform, or 30 in our situation.
Exactly. So basically, the show starts. Daniel Bryan comes to the ring. He's in full gear. I'm like, this is great. This is right. I'm into it straight off the bat. I'm like, this is fantastic. We're starting with the match. Think about maybe outside of Raw, which starts with promos most of the time as well. But on Wednesday nights, most of the time on AEW, I think there's only twice this year that started with a promo, that started with anything else than a match. NXT is always a match. It's always something straight out the gate. Action, wrestling. You're watching a wrestling show. So I get wrestling on the last SmackDown of the year. I'm like, well, we're finishing off on a nice little tidbit here. But no. Then we get an unnecessary promo from Baron Corbin, who just keeps harping on the same stuff week after week. We don't need his promos because we understand his corny cheeseball motivations, and they don't add anything to his character. They don't add anything to story. He's just expounding exposition. That's all he does. He can just hit the ring and get fighting. But then we understand, right? Then we understand why we didn't end up with why we got the Baron Corbin promo. It was to swerve us, Sean. It was to swerve us out of the match. It was for Roman Reigns to appear out of nowhere and attack him, for Baron Corbin to be dumped off his sedan and be like, oh, look at the high and mighty Baron Corbin being tossed around. No. If you're going to start with the match, start with the match. If you're going to start with, especially, don't swerve me out of an opening match. This is what insulted me the most. And there's so much more I'm going to talk about regarding how they handled this entire thing. But I am so done, Sean, with this 1995 carny shit booking. My God, I am done with it. Kayfabe is dead. We know how these things work. WWE considers itself a media company first and foremost, not a wrestling promotion, a media company. Therefore, it is competing against Disney and Marvel and all the rest. So give the audience entertainment, because the audience will go somewhere else because there is much better stuff. And they will continue if you keep delivering this kind of junk. All this does is erode at your fan base, the core base that tunes in, like us, who like professional wrestling, but who don't like being treated like imbeciles.
So Corbin is running from Roman Reigns, obviously. And apparently he wants Adam Pearce to get the match canceled or postponed. He refuses to compete tonight. He's out of the match. Okay. All right, well, in that case, then he's out of the match. Cool. You forego your opportunity. Tough shit. You're done.
And let me jump in here again. Okay. Why? Then tell me, Sean, why are we excited about the Universal title? Why should we be excited for the Universal title if one of the 3 guys involved in the match tonight, who is positioning himself for a number 1 contendership for the title, if he's just like pulling himself up because nope, I'm not competing tonight? Why should we care? If he doesn't,
he's got his cronies, 5 or 6 of them, and Dolph Ziggler, and he's still not confident enough that those people can keep this dude at bay while he tries to earn a Universal Championship match.
And don't give me anything about, oh, well, he's a chicken shit heel. At some point, even the chicken shit heels want to compete for the titles. Usually, they want to be in the top spots nonetheless. And there are ways to come across as a little slimy, a little gross, a little cowardly, but without completely throwing away any credibility that you're trying to instill into a match for a title.
And that's the thing. That's the issue with Baron Corbin and the way that they treat him as a chicken shit heel. Because then they'll try to reestablish his credibility over the course of 1 or a couple weeks. Oh, you know what? Well, he beat Kurt Angle, so he's legit, even though he's a chicken shit. All right, so then you get 3-4 months of that. And you realize, okay, he's beating up Becky Lynch, and he can't win the title. Okay, well, there he lost his credibility. Then like, oh, wait, but he's king of the ring. He's king of the ring. But, yeah, we're going to make him a total joke on the first episode of SmackDown on Fox. And, hey, you know what? I could think of far worse spots for Baron Corbin than being in the ring with Becky and The Rock. No big deal. But it didn't stop there. It didn't stop there. And they do all this dog food horse shit. Horse shit. It's not creative. It's not interesting. And I know that Baron Corbin can be interesting because I've seen him be interesting.
Sure.
And I know he can be good in the ring because I watched King of the Ring. And those are really good matches. I watched this match. He was good in this match. He's been good against Chad Gable every single time they've ever been in the ring together. My God. My God. So, Jesus. Bryan and Miz later have a match for a brief amount of time. So I have seen these two guys either wrestle or almost wrestle 4 times in the last 24 hours. I'm done with them at this point. Corbin's cronies attack and get the match thrown out. And Corbin says that they shouldn't even be competing with him without him there. He said he wasn't going to do it anymore.
It's just as simple as that. It's like, so we're getting another swerve, Sean. We're getting a double swerve. I swear.
Warren, there are going to be people that are like, oh, it's working on you. It's working on you. That's not what... I hope you all understand that we understand where you're coming from, but that ain't it. I'm going
to give you a really good example as to what a neat swerve is. And here's a little inside baseball for y'all at the same time. Sean and I were preparing some Fightful Select retro reviews, and we're watching some Royal Rumbles. Or not Royal. Anyway, we're watching Battle Royals. And we watched the corporate battle royal from back in the day. Now, there are swerves. There are 2 swerves in the match. At the end, Triple H comes in and he's supposed to be the last participant. But then, no, suddenly there's another participant and it's Vince McMahon. And then there's another participant after that and it's China. And you know what? The crowd pops. And I pop myself. It didn't make sense, but it made sense in the context. And that's the kind of swerve that connects. Here... Yeah. It's not. It's swerving for swerving's sake. It's calling Vince Russo on speed dial and asking him, "Bro, do you have any ideas?" And this is what he comes up with because it didn't advance any stories. It just delayed. Alex usually uses this example: storytelling. You go from point A to point B to point C to point D to eventually get to point E. WWE has this uncanny ability to give us the impression, or at least try to give us the impression, that they're going to point B, when in fact they're going from point A to point B, back to point A, then to point B again. This is exactly what happened tonight. We're supposed to start with a triple threat match. Whoops, we didn't get it. We're getting another match, and then we came all the way back to the triple threat match. What was it for, Sean? What was it for? To advance Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin? We did not need all the overbooking that happened with Corbin and Roman Reigns to advance it tonight as well. It was very, very frustrating, and it is not the type of swerve where you're like, oh, well, this is getting to you, man. No, this is not the kind of thing that makes me want to tune in next week. This is the kind of thing that frustrates me. It's like they don't know how to put a TV show together. They just don't. There's an extreme difference between the two.
Like, I love when a storyline can weave in and out of the show, and even from the beginning to the end of the show, but in the end, we got the exact thing that we were supposed to get from the beginning. And it felt like a waste of time. It didn't feel like an interesting, good storyline because we knew what was going to happen. We knew Roman Reigns was going to come back out there. We knew that he was. Man. So Caleb Braxton says that Roman Reigns has been kicked out. Corbin is good to fight again. And you know what? Corbin wanting to fight again because Roman Reigns is there. Yeah, sure. But here's the thing. Like I said, he's got like 5 or 6 guys on his side. So, yeah. On a positive note, Braun Strowman and New Day are both insanely over. Jesus Christ, this crowd for these guys, Warren.
And here's let's continue down my same train of thought. I swear I'm gonna change. I'm gonna get there is some good stuff on the show tonight, guys. Trust me, I'm getting there. Why wouldn't you start your show with this match? They were fantastic. The crowd was into it. They were hot. They were on their feet for Braun Strowman trying to dance at the end. Why would you have not started your show like this? Get your audience into it and to stick around for the rest of the evening.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
I have some serious issues with the dancing because Braun Strowman on the record told me he only parties in Crocs, and he was wearing boots. He said, "When I wear boots, people are in trouble. Crocs are my party shoes." I want some continuity. Braun Strowman doesn't care. This was awesome. This, not the dancing, whatever.
The match.
If you go back, which you can't go back and watch me and Alex's 2017 podcasts, but you can listen to them. When Braun Strowman was super over against the Roman Reigns that people didn't want to see, we said that you were going to see him be like with the cricket mascot, check out the nation's leading wireless network, Cricket. And you'd see like a Cricket wireless mascot knocking over a Titantron or something like Braun does. It's going to happen. The Nicholas thing was just a couple months later. But whatever. The dancing doesn't hurt him any more than he already has been in the past. He's still going to be super over. Whatever. However, after I spoke to this guy and I saw him do media days and I saw him do all this stuff and I've seen him do talk shows, there is no reason he could not have been the guy. He is unbelievably charismatic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Kofi Kingston was the guy for a while, and let me tell you guys, his live reactions are unbelievable. The New Day should not break up. Anybody that says that probably hasn't heard them get live reactions. They still get insane live reactions. They are an unbelievable act, and these 3 guys they were in the ring with complimented them well. This was Sami Zayn's first match on TV since August, Warren.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see it. Yesterday he looked like he was in really good shape. I didn't get much of a look of him today, but Cesaro uppercutted Kofi over the announce table. I love that spot.
That's so good.
It's one of those spots that's like low impact. You don't take a bump or anything, but Kofi rolled over the table and made it look so good, Warren.
Yeah.
Nakamura hit his sliding German. Kofi hit what Corey Graves has named the waffle stomp, which I love. I love that.
Yep.
Braun got the tag. Incredible ovation. He chases Zayn around the ring. Nakamura catches him with a knee. Good spot there. What did you think of this match?
This was a lot of fun. Again, I'm going to underscore it. They should have started the show with this. It was fantastic. I loved when I think it was Shinsuke and Kofi who were trying to get the tags on either corner, and Sami was like, "Come on!" But once Braun got the tag, he just jumped off the apron. He just disappeared.
He's so good.
He's so good, and the way that Sami avoided the running shoulder block around the ring, that was the last great highlight of 2019, man. That was amazing. And Sean, are we entering an era where Sami Zayn is going to be protected? Because he didn't take the pin. He did not take the pin.
He's so good at getting heat. Like, he's just really good at it. He's good at getting a reaction. And whether it's babyface or heel, he's very, very good at it. And let me tell you, this was just a good match. It was a good match with 6 really good performers. I agree with you. This right out of the gate should have been the thing that kicked off the show, because then I'm sitting at home. If I'm a person who doesn't watch this all the time, I'm like, maybe I'm flipping through the channels. I'm off on a Friday after Christmas, and I see these guys. I don't know who the hell they are, but I see a crowd that's just loving everything these guys do. I think they're stars. And I'm ready for a Braun Strowman Intercontinental title reign. And I think there are several people, Braun being one of them, that can make a title like that mean, at least on the level, perceived as being as important as a world title.
Sure.
I think Braun, with a top-level run like that with the Intercontinental title, I think you could really establish that as his championship. If they're not going to make him the world champion or the universal champion, let the man run with that IC title. Let him do crazy stuff. Let him power slam people off of stages and all that good stuff, and make that segment of the show his. I'm ready for a Braun Strowman push. I'm done seeing him with children and with celebrities and all this stuff that prevents him from being able to get over. It's either Tyson Fury or it's Colin Jost or it's Nicholas or it's somebody like that. Like, he's really good. Let him be really good.
And just the fact that he, as Braun Strowman holding the title, like you said, it'll just add who is going to beat Braun Strowman. Like right now, that's the question. Everyone fears Braun Strowman. Who's going to take him down? So if he has a title, of course it's going to add some shine to it, because you're going to have one of the biggest beasts in the company, one of the strongest booked guys in the company holding a title. It's going to make for some really interesting chases. Like, I can definitely see him beating Nakamura and then Sami coming over to Nakamura and saying, it's okay. I'll go after the title. I'll get it back for you, Shin. You take it easy. And then Sami, in his Weasley ways these days, trying to get it off of Braun, that would be fantastic too.
We saw another Sheamus vignette. Nothing special about that. We do get an Ali vignette. He says he'll stand in the light. He recapped his 2019, some of the issues he had. Considering he's been off, I don't want to say been off TV for a little bit, but this is a good thing. Being able to display people, remind you of their history, remind you of their motivation. I mean, you always hear the cliche, the actor, what's my motivation? Well, because they want to know how to perform their character and why the audience would care about them. Their motivation is our motivation to care about them, and we saw that out of Ali. I thought this was a good vignette.
The only thing I'm having a little trouble getting behind is the whole stand into the light thing.
It's cheesy.
It's just a little corny, just a tiny bit. But yes, they could have gone a little deeper into it. They could have really underscored the fact that he was supposed to be in an elimination chamber. That cost him probably the biggest opportunity of his career so far, because it's not done yet. But yes, it goes into a larger frame of mind where we would like these wrestlers to be humanized a little more so that we can relate to them, just be on the same playing field as them. Everyone has had setbacks in their lives during a year or over several months, whatever. So it's easy to connect with. If we got more of these, I think there's a lot of people who could benefit and would get over much easier with the crowd.
A major announcement that will really change the foundation of WWE today. Roman Reigns will face Dolph Ziggler on New Year's Eve.
So I guess we're doing a post show, right?
Yeah. I'm going to stay home. I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to socialize. I got to watch this. I got to see this. For the ninth time ever, Reigns and Ziggler.
Well, I mean, look, this is the mainstreamiest crowd of mainstream crowds, right? The New Year's Eve party. Yeah. So you're going to put on your biggest, arguably most good-looking member of your roster. The guy that the guys are going to look like. Who's that guy? And the ladies are going to swoon for, against Dolph Ziggler, who is, he has some of the old attributes that we usually tie to wrestlers. The long flashy hair,
yeah.
the whole presentation. I mean, it's the two perfect guys. Of course, it's going to be meaningless. It's probably going to last like all the more
5 minutes.
4. I was going to say 4, but
I thought for sure they were setting up with the Dolph thing. an excuse to have Mandy walk him out to the ring on New Year's Eve. I thought that's the direction they were going because they would love to just put her out there for that. And the thing is, if they did, whatever. It's such a throwaway. It doesn't even matter. But I was like, oh, I see what you're doing here. I was a little bit surprised where they didn't establish that. But maybe they did because Dolph was asking her about her New Year's Eve plans. But Sonya, not happy that Mandy wasn't there for her last week. Mandy says, Otis got sweat on my dress last week. Otis then gives her a cake that his mom made. We have very differing thoughts on this. Go ahead and share yours.
I love this. I love it so much.
I want to say, I like it too. We just have differing thoughts on where it's going.
Okay. I really, really love what they've been doing with Otis since the ham thing with Sami Zayn. You remember when he started, Sean, when he was brought up, and what he used to do was convulse next to the lady, and pretty lady, and you're like, who is this creep,
Yeah.
Now, when Sami kicked the ham, or Cesaro, I don't remember who, they kicked the ham out of his hands, he just lowered his head and he was so downtrodden, Last week when Mandy gave him the ham and pecked him on the cheek, his face lit up. It was also natural. It wasn't overdone. It wasn't hammy. It was like, oh my goodness. And then he goes and he goes, hammy, thank you very much. I'm here all week. And then he goes on his off time, goes to his mother, and his mother probably looks at him and says, oh, that Mandy girl, she was very nice. Why don't you know what, Otis, I'll cook her a nice little cake. My usual.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. It's coming, man.
Fruit cake.
And he goes and he gives it to Mandy in earnest, and he apologizes, and he tries. Look, I know what they're doing, right? He's the awkward dude who's talking to a girl who's clearly out of his league. He has a crush on her. Man, this goes back to when he was tweeting, I think last year or 18 months ago, when he was tweeting while he was still in NXT that Mandy Rose was his girlfriend. This has history, man. He's the awkward guy who doesn't know how to talk to girls. And I think it's fantastic right here, like what they're doing. Gives her the cake and he's happy, but he just can't grab onto the moment and express his feelings. And it's relatable. Let's be honest. A lot of us out there, we grew up awkward, didn't quite know how to talk to girls. Some of us still can't. So there's something very relatable in all of this, and I honestly like it.
So I saw you say that you think it will launch him to stardom, perhaps?
Superstardom.
I think it's a Phineas Godwin. I think it's Phineas Godwin slopping Sonny on an episode of Superstars on a weekend show that exists only in my memories.
I think, here's the thing. Just because of the segment they did a little later on, I don't know if you want to walk through it before.
Yeah, we will.
But with the Dolph thing, I think that this is the thing that's going to push him, because he's already over.
Yeah,
Otis is already over.
Big time.
But this is going to push him over. This is going to just give him an extra nudge. I think this is perfectly suited for the type of persona and character that he is. It's tailor-made for him. The minute that they added Dolph Ziggler, the douchebag jock, who's slimy greaseball, who just, who can hit on girls without any form of conscience, just because he finds her cute. The minute they added in there, I was like, yeah, you know what? This is gold for Otis right here.
So the match happens. My only issue with that, Mandy doing the "you will never look like me" thing is so stupid. It's so dumb. And I know that it could possibly go somewhere with this Otis thing. And I'm all for multifaceted characters. It's just that this facet is so goddamn stupid. Like, I hated it when Dolph Ziggler would pick somebody up by their face and scream, "Do something!" every single week. It's so stupid. It's so pointless. Win the match, then scream at her. It just makes her look stupid. Carmella wins with a super kick. Okay, Sonya didn't come out. We'll see how that goes. Backstage, Mandy is eating Otis's cake when Ziggler approaches and kind of minimizes the gift, says, "Ugh, you don't want that. He gave it to everybody." Then he steps on the cake in some Jordans. They're mids. They're not great Jordans, but they're Jordans, damn it.
But what I liked, he sort of flexed on it too. He's like, I stepped on. They're Jordans, by the way. It's like, I don't give a shit.
They were clean too. I'll give him that. At least they were clean.
Yeah,
but
not anymore.
Otis discovers the cake backstage, and he is dejected, Warren.
Now here's just the tiny thing. We'll see where this goes next week. Here's the tiny thing. Because I was like, no, Otis, it's not Mandy. It's not. Don't worry. But the thing here is next week, and it's a television show. There are cameras everywhere. So Otis can just go back and look at the footage. So We'll see what happens next week. If next week he's like going around and going, Mandy, she's stepping on my cake. Now that is going to kind of break it for me. Then I'm going to be like, that's Otis. Yes. You could send her a post on social media. You could do all sorts of stuff. If next week you still think that Mandy stepped on the cake, well, we have an issue.
I would have had Tucker find it and tell Otis, almost like the Al Snow Mankind with the book in the trash thing. And maybe Otis says, I was so upset I didn't even watch the show back last week, type of thing.
Sure.
Maybe that could be a little bit of a wrinkle, or could have been, but it wasn't. But yeah, I'll tell you this. I don't mind this angle. It's fine. Otis is better than I could have ever imagined. Mandy Rose is excellent in this role. Dolph is good in this role too. Dolph's good at it. So
Dolph is perfect for this. Are you kidding me? The minute that he decides to start insulting Otis, it's going to be great. This is really, Sean, we underscore when they do things wrong. Let's underscore when they're doing things right. And as it stands, they're doing it quite well so far.
Yeah, I agree. I also agree that we're doing things quite well on FightfulSelect.com. That's our premium service. And hey, right now, we can't get super chats. We can't monetize our channel. If you want to support us, the best way to do that is FightfulSelect.com. We're hoping that within a few months, it's going to be ported over to the Fightful.com site completely. But right now, you get exclusive news that's sent right to you. Every week, Alex Pawlowski does his very sour Raw and SmackDown podcast review. If you want NXT UK, 205 Live, NWA, Ring of Honor, Impact reviews, Beyond Wrestling, Steven Jensen has you covered on the Weekender podcast. Every week, I update you on contracts, injuries, stats, backstage news, exclusive news on the Backstage Report podcast. Every other week, I do a Q&A where you can ask as many questions as you want if you're a subscriber. Today, I did a bit of a special episode. It was the Fightful Select newscast where I talked about 15 minutes about today's headlines. I might make that a regular feature as well, but a regular feature that we do have, every month we do a retro review podcast as well. We've got dozens of those in the can. So maybe there's a show that you want to go back and learn about or hear about. Those retro review podcasts are a lot of fun, and we're about to take a different approach with a couple of those. FightfulSelect.com, the most direct way to support us, and we have a lot more than I even mentioned there. In our archives, we have a ton of stuff. Hundreds of shows at your disposal over at FightfulSelect.com. I believe over 400 shows over there already. So plenty of content. FightfulSelect.com. Also, this week, I might be doing a Rampage Jackson versus Fedor watch-along. We'll see how that goes. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
That happening this week?
Yes, it is. This weekend in Japan. That could be a tragedy. I will say that Lacey Evans' babyface run is not a tragedy. I'm rather digging it. And now that I see it, I'm like, man, they should have never had her as a heel. Now, I remember in 2017 watching her work Sonya Deville in Northern Kentucky, and they ran something very similar to this. Lacey's daughter travels with her, and Sonya targeted her daughter then and used it for heel heat. This is so natural. You believe it. And quite frankly, we don't have a lot of female characters who either do have their children on screen or even have children. So this is some source material that they can pull from. And I've mentioned this before. Like, there are a lot of storylines that men have done to death. And we've seen a lot of kids. We've seen a lot of sons. From Goldberg's poor kid tripping over the barricade and falling on his face to Dominic. We watched the kid grow up. We've seen a lot of that involved in storyline. But with women, we haven't necessarily seen that as much. And it's fresh and it's new. And the thing I like is Lacey Evans was a smart babyface here. She was a moment of bliss. She was complimentary of Alexa and Nikki, also big time over at the house show last night. And she was like, listen, I know what happens on shows like this, so I'm just going on to the ring. No disrespect to you guys. And she sees Dana Brooke get dragged out, and she's like, you know what? I'm going to go help her. I'm teaming with her. I'm not just going to watch her get her ass kicked. I thought she looked great here, Warren.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. We've seen this is what was motivating Miz to go and find Daniel Bryan over the past couple of weeks. It was like, I relate to him as a father. We're fathers. Well, it's good to see the women wrestlers in WWE wrestling for wrestling reasons. And it's not necessarily, they're not necessarily home wreckers or catty little women or whatever, just calling each other ugly. This is something that's relatable. I mean, I am behind a Mama Bear Lacey Evans in this circumstance here. Why wouldn't you be? It makes perfect sense. I did get a chuckle when during the moment of bliss where she said, nobody goes after a child, especially the child of a mother. And I'm like, well, Lacey, all children have mothers. I'm just saying that. But I understood what she was trying to say.
Yeah, that line was kind of funny.
I knew what she meant. But this is good. And, it's kind of like what they're doing with Asuka and Becky over on Raw, where it's like, they're fighting for wrestling reasons. It's not for women reasons. They're two people who have egos and are paid to fight. So let's fight each other because we have something to settle. So I like it when they're able to create these instances for the women that don't require overthinking it too much, or it's like, oh, we need to develop this really convoluted story so that it all makes sense. No, the wrestlers at the same level and title as your guys. You don't necessarily need these complex stories every time. Sometimes they just want to fight each other. Sasha upped the ante when she decided to go after her daughter, and that's fine. It works perfectly with Sasha Banks. And man, I got to tell you, Sasha Banks and Bayley, they're so good together. Every time, it's always a pleasure to see those two as a team. They have such chemistry. They still even have the matching gear, Sean. Even though they're not officially the Boss and Hug connection anymore, they still have the matching gear. They're matching Sasha's hair. I think it's great.
Yeah, I do too. They fit so well together. Sasha really compliments Bayley and vice versa. It works. I think Lacey's babyface wrestling works too. Dana Brooke is getting better and better. She's using that Ember Moon swinging suplex because why not for the next few months?
She didn't get a Batista bomb in tonight, though.
No, she didn't.
Is that an indication of trouble in the couple, Sean?
Let's hope not. I'm rooting for them.
Yes.
Bayley to belly hits on Lacey, but Dana breaks it up. Sasha ducked a women's right, and it hits Bayley. Interested to see if that leads to anything. But a bank statement hits on Dana Brooke for the win. This is pretty solid stuff. Pretty good.
I liked it. I like how the bank statement was really quickly applied, because Dana Brooke had her in a roll up. And in 2019, we've seen tons of roll up wins in WWE and AEW. So the roll ups to me these days have me on the edge of my seat where I'm like, ooh, So Dana rolls her up, and I'm like, oh, is she going to get it? But no, Sasha rolls out and rolls right into the bank statement. Boom, gets the win. I thought this was really good, and I thought the match played really, really well into Lacey's strengths. You know, I had a lot of people on Twitter saying, oh, Lacey's improved so much in the ring. Well, she will necessarily improve. Like she has to. How much has she improved? We'll see in the singles match against Sasha, because tonight she looked good, but I think everything played to her strengths. Let's see her in a 10-minute match, and then we'll talk about it.
Well, we finally get our top contender match. The action quickly spills outside. Corbin does his choke slam a little bit differently. I want to say, gosh, I'm trying to remember who did a choke slam like this, where he doesn't throw the arm over. He just grabs by the throat and doesn't do that, and there's a lot of grip issues there, and it looked like he almost lost Miz. I want to say maybe Scott Hall did a choke slam like that, but I can't remember. I just know that somebody has, and I've seen it before. But usually, somebody grabs the old goozle, they throw the arm over, then they do the choke slam, and that's how you lift. But Corbin does a lot of different things. He does that ripcord slam that he innovated. He did the end of days. He innovated that. The deep six is a move that is his. Like, he is an innovative dude, so if he wants to do some different stuff, I'm okay with him trying it. But man, it did look like he almost dumped Miz there.
And Baron Corbin is good. You know, it's not that we hate Baron Corbin. That's not the
I hate the half Nelson crossface. That's for damn sure.
Oh well, yeah, for sure. The main event cravat as well. I don't really care for it.
Love a good cravat. Bam! Tighten it up right there. Each carotid artery. You know what? There you go.
See?
If you're Lash LaRue, you reach your leg around the inside, you sweep them backwards, and you hit the old Whiplash 2000. You hold that cravat, you drop straight to your back, boom, diamond cutter. How about that one? Maybe you want to drag them over, Warren. Maybe you want to drag them over. A little modified snap mare. How about that one? Maybe you want to spin them around a little bit. Hit a little spinning neck breaker with that cravat. Be unconventional, but you can make it work. Maybe you want to jump up. You want to run up the turnbuckles. Land acid drop, Spike Dudley style. How about that one? Maybe you want to take it to the ground. Put their shoulders on the mat, Warren. The cravat. I will not deal with the slander. The cravat slander. You won't do it on my YouTube channel. I'm going to get a copyright strike for this for some reason. How dare you trash the cravat? Like that. Just like that.
I feel like I've learned so much.
Sound off in the comments about how much you love a good cravat. Next wrestling booking I got. By the way, I'm gonna do one, at least one in 2020. I'm locking on a good cravat, and it's staying on for probably 6-7 minutes maybe now.
Oh, that'll be exciting.
7 minutes.
That's gonna be good.
I'm gonna do one of those spots where I got somebody in the cravat. They try to pick me up like an atomic drop, and I just hold on to it, and I drag them over, and I'm like, nope.
Oh,
nope,
man.
I'm not going anywhere.
Man, I hope you get 2 hot dogs with that handshake after the match.
You're damn right. You're damn right. Good old cravat. There are actually some good submission holds in this match. We already know that Miz and Bryan have really good chemistry. Like, not necessarily like in like wrestling chemistry, but pro wrestling, sports entertainment chemistry. These guys have. Last night, match of the night, in my opinion, Miz, Fiend, Daniel Bryan, and it was because of Miz and Daniel Bryan. They were the highlights of that match.
Sure.
Miz has a Corbin in a figure 4 while Bryan does a diving headbutt. I saw you comment on Twitter. I don't need to see that. Now, I know that there's always somebody that'll be like, oh, well, he can do it. He's done it plenty of times. And I'm like, all right, well, let's look at the 2 primary users of that and how their life unfolded and think, let's maybe not do it. Let's just maybe not do it.
Let's just talk about Harley Race, who regretted, who is credited with inventing it. And he outright in a 2000 shoot interview said that he regret coming up with it because of what happened to Dynamite Kid. He regretted it. And this is the kind of stuff that almost brought Daniel Bryan's career to an end.
That was well before the Benoit stuff, too. And he was saying, we shouldn't do it. Shouldn't do it. I mean, here's the thing, and I don't want somebody to just, like, act like this is me saying, well, I know better than Daniel Bryan, but I mean, until you all have physically touched some of the guys that are in the ring here, they're made of rock. Even Baron Corbin, who looks like he's not made of rock, I mean, relatively speaking, his shoulder's probably a lot tougher than Daniel Bryan's face, and I worry about that. I really worry about that. Well, Bryan applies a yes lock to Corbin after he reverses the pressure of the figure four. I dug that spot. Miz rakes the eyes to get that to stop. End of days hits on Miz, and he doesn't kick out. Bryan breaks it up. He reverses his own, lands a flying knee. Then Ziggler comes out. And, I mean, the thing is, it's no DQ, so why wouldn't he?
Yes.
Why wouldn't he? But
I was talking with Kristen, and as all this was happening, shout out. And as when Ziggler came out, she just flew off the handle. She was like, "What was all of this for? What was it for?" And I'm like, "Don't worry, it's a DQ." But I agree,
Yeah.
But it's no DQ. But I agree.
Daniel Bryan needs to make a comment somewhere like, "Why did that super kick taste like cake?" I've never had one of those before. It was actually kind of delicious. Like, I would love, and Daniel Bryan's the kind of guy that would make a comment like that because he's low-key one of the funniest people. Have you ever seen the Table for Three with Bryan, Ziggler, and Ryback, where Daniel Bryan, 200 pounds, flat out bullies Ryback for the duration of the show?
Yes.
He bullies Ryback. He erect shames him.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. And Dolph Ziggler's just sitting there being the crony. Like, yeah, I get it. It's amazing. It's one of the must-watch things on the network. I rank that in Table for Three history right up there with Christian telling Jeff Hardy, "Don't worry, we're getting you an Uber, buddy. You don't have to drive." It's right up there. So Roman Reigns shows up. You know he's taking out Corbin. You know he's taking out Ziggler. It happens. Bryan uses what we call in MMA the mousetrap armbar, which Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson used in an actual fight. He throws him into an armbar, then a heel hook. Miz turns it around into a figure four. But then Bryan goes into the Rings of Saturn and a yes lock and gets the tap. This was fun stuff. This was a good match.
However...
Uh-oh.
Baron Corbin disappears. So we end up. You see how nonsensical this all led into?
So we went from point A to point B to point C. Then they were like, all right, well, we're going to go back to point A. But you know what? It's going to be point B because Corbin's not really going to be in the match.
And all of this to advance the story between Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin?
Everybody just loves it, man. They love it. I can't think of... I've not seen anybody that was like, you know what? I need more.
Oh, no. No one's saying that, of course. And this was... don't kid yourselves. What we saw tonight in regards to the triple threat... Miz versus Bryan, whatever you want to call it, the number one contenders match. This was not good storytelling. This was poor storytelling. This was a waste of your time, folks. It was a waste of my time. It was a waste of the time of the people who came up with this. There was nothing out of this. We tread water for, I would assume, if I'm making a quick compilation of the time spent on this angle tonight, I'd say 30, 35 minutes overall, maybe 40, just standing still where nothing of value happened. Nothing was properly advanced. The only thing that happened and the only thing that truly mattered was that we got a winner to face the Fiend at the Royal Rumble. We did not need everything else to get us to that point.
Yeah,
we really did not.
If you're trying to decide what you should and shouldn't watch on this show, just watch that main event as far as this angle goes. You don't need the opening segment. You don't need the stop and start match. You don't need the backstage stuff. Just the Corbin versus Miz versus Daniel Bryan match, which was good. But it did all that other stuff. And honestly, most of the wrestling, there wasn't any bad wrestling. Like even Carmella versus Mandy Rose, completely unoffensive stuff. And I'm not saying like, oh, usually they have offensive matches. It was just brief. It was abrupt. It was short. It was used to further the Sonya Mandy thing, as opposed to, and they were like, hey, and we can get Carmella a win here while we're doing it. So
sure, and you get to see one of Mandy's great V triggers in the meantime. So that's a win too.
Yeah, I'm all for Carmella getting a win. They got Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross on the show. That was a nice way to get them involved in that too. They got Boston Hug a win. Dana Brooke losing, as much as I want to see her do more stuff, her losing does not hurt anybody at all. It keeps Lacey from losing. We got a good Lacey Evans promo. We got furthered on the Otis Mandy deal. That stuff was good. I didn't need that terrible Elias thing. Oh my God, it was so bad. I didn't need that first thing. I didn't need Adam Pearce getting goddamn harassed as if he's booking the show. Like, what? Did he get appointed by Fox or something?
He doesn't need that.
That ain't in his job description.
To get shit from Baron Corbin. Make it happen. I'd tell Baron Corbin to just screw off at that point. Especially if I'm Adam Pearce. Yeah.
Adam Pearce could get a gig with NWA Power tomorrow. Damn it.
Yep.
He doesn't need this. That was SmackDown. I thought it was pretty solid. I mean, honestly, if you don't have the time, I would definitely recommend you watch the highlights of it. The main event is good, but yeah, I mean, at the very least, it's worth a YouTube video watch, Warren.
The most frustrating and egregious thing was the entire number one contendership situation, because it did feel like a waste of time, and it's a shame because it got exhausting at some point, and I felt like it reduced some of the enjoyment that you could naturally have with the rest, because the rest is good, and there was some really good storytelling tonight. They are doing some great stuff. Lacey Evans is working well. The Otis, Mandy, Dolph Ziggler stuff is great. I mean, there were some highlights tonight. And the New Day and Braun Strowman versus Sami's kids. They were fantastic. That was a fantastic match. I mean, there's good stuff here. But, man, Daniel Bryan won. Watch the main event. That's all you need to know.
Guys, do me a solid. Go over to youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. Subscribe to his channel. The man is like 124 subscriptions away from monetization. A joy that I may never know again. And if I can never know it again, I want to know that my friend and colleague, Mr. Warren Hayes, can enjoy making money for his work. I want to spread the love and spread the cheer. Donating my hair? Minimal compared to this. I want Warren to understand the joy that I had just ripped away from my grips. Oh, man. YouTube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. Of course, subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. We have some great stuff coming up. We have some great stuff up there right now. This week, listing your boy wasn't really preempted. We didn't do the typical news format. You get a look at my DVD collection. You get a look at Jimmy Van's LJN collection, which is the most expansive in the world.
Really?
World. One of the action figures he bought, Warren, the only reason the guy sold it to him was because he said, yeah, I wanted to finance a barn. That's the level of money that he spent on his collection. Finance a barn! You also see an interview with Zack Ryder I did from this summer. Next week, you'll see the list and your girl, myself and Denise Salcedo, talking entrance theme music, WWE, WWF. We're going to do some more of those in the future. But Warren, what do you got going on this week?
Well, look, we're going to be back on Wednesday, I believe, for the Wednesday Night Wars, Miss Sean, Alex, and I. Then I'll be back on Thursday on my own YouTube channel for my own show. And if you want to come check that out, that'd be fantastic. Do subscribe. And we are watching some low-key Royal Rumble matches, not necessarily pay-per-views, but Royal Rumble matches. Sean and I, we're getting a pretty cool retro review prepared for Royal Rumble season for you guys. We'll be taping that next week. I'm looking forward to it. Some fun stuff. Like there's literally a lot of fun stuff that we that we have on our slate here.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that for January there were going to be a lot of people watching old Royal Rumbles, and I was like, you know what? They won't be watching Royal Rumbles that weren't on the Royal Rumble shows. So I'm talking mini Royal Rumbles, corporate Royal Rumbles, Raw Royal Rumbles, and we're going to provide you all with video links to almost all of these if possible. So you all will be able to watch those as well. It's going to be a good time. Then February, I've already got it queued up, myself and Zachary Schimmel. It'll be, I think, the 6-year anniversary of NXT TakeOver Arrival. So that one's coming up too. Lots of good stuff. Make sure you guys leave a thumbs up. Reminder, if you're wondering, hey, where can I listen to this podcast, this Fightful podcast, since your YouTube channel doesn't exist anymore? The answer is always Fightful.com, FightfulPods.com. Thank you all so much. We're out.